Imagine this. You walk into a studio for a simple photo, maybe a passport picture, and you walk out, well, questioning your own face. It sounds wild, right? But that's exactly what we're diving into today. This incredibly strange story about a man whose face was basically called wrong by the very person who was supposed to be photographing it.
So yeah, what does happen when a picture of you isn't really you? It's such a weird question, but it's really the heart of this entire story. It gets right into that blurry line between, what we look like and who we are. All right, let's get into it and see how this whole bizarre encounter went down.
All right, so our story kicks off simply enough. We have a guy, our narrator, and he just wants to get his picture taken. Simple, right? But the thing is, from the second he walks into this photo studio, you just know something is off. The whole vibe is unsettling right from the start.
First, he's met by this kind of drooping photographer in a gray suit who just tells him to wait. And he waits and waits for a full hour. And what's he doing? He's flipping through this stack of seriously weird and old magazines like Ladies' Companion, Girls' Magazine, and get this, one called the Infant's Journal. I mean, who has that lying around? That long, silent wait, it just makes him feel like he doesn't belong there at all. It really sets this super uncomfortable mood right from the get-go.
Okay, so after that hour, the photographer finally comes back and takes him into the studio, and the place is bare. Just a single beam of sunlight coming through a cotton sheet. And this photographer, he immediately starts acting really strange. He's crawling into his camera, then he's frantically tearing at the sheet, just completely obsessed with getting this light exactly right.
And then it happens. The first real shock. Before anything else, before even a single pose is suggested, the photographer just looks at him and says it. His face was quite wrong. And you gotta understand, this isn't about bad lighting or a weird angle. No, this is a judgment on the man's actual face. And just like that, this isn't a photo shoot anymore. It's turned into this full-on, brutal critique of our narrator's entire appearance. The photographer isn't just an artist here, he's more like a judge and jury.
Then it gets physical. The photographer literally grabs the narrator's head in his hands and starts twisting it around. He's treating him like an object, like a piece of clay he can just shape however he wants. Our narrator has zero control.
And then the comments start. The photographer steps back, gives him a once-over, and just says, flat out, "I don't like the head."
And he keeps looking. Super clinical, super cold. The next judgment? The ears are bad. It's just one insult after another, like these quick, sharp jabs.
And then he delivers the final blow, the one that covers everything. "I don't like the face." Wow. So he's not just picking apart features anymore. He's rejecting the guy's entire identity, one piece at a time.
At this point, you can imagine, something just snaps. Our narrator has had enough. He gets really emotional and basically tells the photographer, "Look, this is the face I've got. It's the one I've lived with for 40 years. It's this powerful moment where he's taking back his dignity." But check this out. Just as he's getting up to leave, totally angry and humiliated, the photographer does something super sneaky. He pulls the string. Click. The photo is taken. But it's not a portrait of someone posing. It's a picture of a man at his breaking point, full of defiance and frustration.
So the photographer tells him to come back on Saturday to see the proof. Little does he know, the worst part is still ahead. The improvements this photographer has in mind are way more horrifying than he could ever imagine. So when he comes back and sees the photo, it's just shocking. It's barely even him. The photographer has gone in and completely removed his eyebrows and then just drew on new ones. He messed with the mouth. He got rid of all the facial hair. The audacity is just incredible.
So how did he do all this? Well, the photographer is actually proud of it. He explains he used something he calls the Delphied process to fix the eyebrows. And of course, that's not a real thing. It's just some nonsense term he made up to make his creepy alterations sound all professional and fancy.
And get this, as if that wasn't already too much, the photographer actually asks if he can do more work on the photo. He offers to completely remove the bad ears using another made-up process he calls the sulfide technique. That's it. That's the last straw.
And this is where our narrator finally, completely rejects this whole distorted vision. He makes this really powerful stand for who he actually is, for his real, unaltered face.
You can just feel the emotion here.
With tears in his eyes, he tells the photographer, "Look, all I wanted was an honest picture. Something that would show my face just the way it is, the way heaven gave it to me. Humble though the gift may have been."
So he looks at this heavily edited photo, and he just calls it a worthless bauble. It means nothing to him, right? Because it's not him. He tells the photographer to keep it and just leaves, completely washing his hands of this fake image.
So he walks out of that studio, not with a picture, but with this deep feeling of being violated. It's like his whole identity was just attacked by a guy with a camera and a really messed up idea of what perfect looks like.
This whole story, even though it happened a long time ago, feels so incredibly relevant today, doesn't it? It leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. In our world, with all the filters and apps that can change our faces in a second, what does an honest face even look like anymore? And maybe more importantly, what's the real value in seeing and sharing one?